The 1990s didn't just create NBA legends. It created the standard every basketball player is still judged against. This video ranks the greatest NBA players of the 1990s based on dominance, impact, and results. Championships matter. Stats matter. But what matters most is who stood in everyone else's way when it mattered most. Stay until the end, because the number one player didn't just win the decade, he owned it. Before the rankings begin, it's important to understand why the 1990s were different. Spacing barely existed. Hand-checking was legal, the paint was crowded, scoring was harder, games were slower, and physical punishment was constant. A 25-point scorer in this era carried a heavier load than most players today. Every postseason felt personal, and greatness was exposed quickly. The rules were different. The game was different, and the players who survived it became legends. Number 10, Gary Payton. Gary Payton was the most feared perimeter defender of the 1990s. In 1996, he became the only point guard in NBA history to win Defensive Player of the Year. 9 consecutive years on the All-Defensive First Team, 9 All-Star selections. And in 1996, he led the Seattle Supersonics all the way to the NBA Finals. Payton didn't just guard opposing players, he talked the entire time. He made every possession feel like a personal insult. And when the game was on the line, he was the one coaches trusted to guard the best player on the planet. But defense alone doesn't crack the top 10. The next player mastered something even rarer. Number 9, John Stockton. John Stockton never dunked on opponents, never trash-talked, never celebrated. He just broke defenses down possession after possession until they couldn't keep up. The all-time leader in assists and steals didn't need flash. He had something better: inevitability. Every night the same pick and roll with Karl Malone. Every night defenses knew it was coming, and every night they still couldn't stop it. Throughout the 1990s, his partnership with Malone defined efficiency and control. No wasted motion, no ego, just precision. Stockton played 19 seasons and never missed the playoffs. That's consistency, that's greatness. Consistency built legacies. But the next player was the heartbeat of the biggest basketball city in the world. Number 8, Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was the heart of the New York Knicks. For over a decade, he was the anchor, the foundation. The warrior who showed up every single night in the most demanding basketball city in America. He averaged 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.4 blocks during his prime, and led multiple deep playoff runs while facing elite competition every year. In an era where the paint was a war zone, Ewing stood his ground night after night. He absorbed contact, battled double teams, and carried the Knicks on his back. The Knicks never won a title, but they were always in the fight, and that was because of Ewing. Some players defined teams, others defined eras. The next player did both. Number 7, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley won MVP in 1993 and carried the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals. Despite being undersized at 6'6", he dominated through strength, effort, and skill. He averaged 25.6 points and 12.2 rebounds that season and led the Suns to the league's best record. He was relentless, he was fierce, and he refused to back down from anyone. Barkley wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the fastest, but he outworked everyone. He never won a ring, but he made the greatest player of all time earn every one of his. Barkley was a one-man army, but the next player was the perfect complement to greatness. Number 6, Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen was the ultimate two-way wing. He guarded every position, he ran offenses, and he won 6 championships while setting the blueprint for every modern wing player. While the spotlight was always elsewhere, Pippen was the glue that held everything together. He could lock down the opponent's best player, push the ball in transition, and make the game-changing play when it mattered most. Without Pippen, there is no dynasty. Without Pippen, the entire decade looks different. Pippen didn't need to be the star. He just needed to be essential. And he was. Being the second option defined Pippen's legacy. The next player was always the first option, and for good reason. Number 5, David Robinson. David Robinson won MVP in 1995 and was elite on both ends of the floor. He averaged 27.6 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 3.2 blocks that season. He was fast, skilled, and powerful. He dominated offensively and could erase mistakes defensively. Robinson wasn't just talented, he was disciplined. He anchored the Spurs culture and defined two-way excellence before it became a requirement. He was a Navy officer before he was an MVP. That discipline showed every night, even when other elite centers outplayed him in playoff matchups. Robinson's greatness was never in question. He elevated everyone around him. Robinson was great, but the next player was inevitable. Number 4, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal didn't just dominate. He broke basketball. Teams built entire rosters to slow him down. The league changed rules because of him. Hack-a-Shaq became a strategy that coaches used just to survive, and none of it mattered. He still averaged 27 points and 12 rebounds in the 1990s. He still dunked through double teams. He still made 7-footers look small. Shaq was 7'1" and 325 pounds of pure force. When he backed you down, there was no stopping it. When he caught the ball in the paint, the basket was already his. The only thing that stopped Shaq in the 90s was the calendar, because once 2000 hit, he became completely unstoppable. But in the 1990s, he was still building toward that peak, and even that version was enough to crack the top 5. Shaq was power. The next player was perfect. Number 3, Karl Malone. Karl Malone won 2 MVPs and was one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen. He averaged 27 points and 11 rebounds throughout the 1990s and was the most consistent offensive force in the league. Night after night, year after year, Malone delivered. The pick and roll with John Stockton was poetry in motion. Clockwork perfection. He wasn't flashy. He was inevitable. He worked harder than everyone else, and it showed in the numbers. Malone finished his career as the second all-time leading scorer in NBA history. He was durable, dominant, and relentless. His only roadblock was Michael Jordan. Malone had the stats. The next player had everything. Number 2, Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem won MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP in the same season. 1994, he became the first player in NBA history to achieve that feat. He was the most complete center the game has ever seen. The Dream Shake was unstoppable. His footwork was unmatched. No center in history moved like Hakeem. He dominated elite centers in back-to-back championship runs. In 1994, he swept through the conference finals and then won the NBA finals. The following year, he did it again. Hakeem could score on anyone. He could defend anyone. He could carry a team on both ends of the floor. He was graceful. He was fierce. He was greatness in its purest form. Hakeem was perfect for 2 years. The next player was perfect for 10. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't just win 6 championships, he won them in 2 perfect three-peats, never letting anyone else touch the throne. 6 finals, 6 finals MVPs, never a Game 7, never a loss. He won 5 regular season MVPs during the 1990s. He led the league in scoring 10 times in his career. He made all-defensive first team 9 times. But the numbers don't capture what Jordan actually did. They don't show how he made greatness look inevitable, how he made dominance look easy. The 1990s weren't just Jordan's era, they were his proof. Proof that one player could own a decade, proof that dominance wasn't luck. proof that when the game mattered most, there was only one answer. Every championship team that came before Jordan had to share the decade. The Celtics had the Lakers had the Celtics, Magic had Bird. Jordan didn't share anything. He retired in 1993 after 3 straight titles. The league thought it finally had a chance. 2 years later, he came back, and he won 3 more. Nobody else won between 1991 and 1998. Not Hakeem in the middle. Not anyone. Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game for his entire career. In the playoffs, that number went up. In the finals, it went up again. When the pressure was highest, Jordan was at his best. That's not talent, that's will. The 1990s belonged to Michael Jordan, and everyone else was just playing for second place.